Alright, good morning, everybody. The day before Thanksgiving break, we have a very special guest with us, one of our workers, Mr. Parks. Alright, so Mr. Parks, you've been working here a long time. Specifically, how long have you been working here?
I've actually been working here 5 years, or I'm into my fifth year.
50?
Yes.
Alright, so we did some research, and you were actually one of the very first classes who came here from WP Daniel during integration. Can you kind of tell us how big of a change that was, like how it was for you?
Well, first of all, I came over during the integration period, and it was a big change because I had attended an all-black school, and during the integration period, things were quite different than they are now. It was a big change, but it was a smoother change at the same time. Um, I see a big difference from the time then and the time now. This school here has grown. Um, I would say that the people today, opposed to then, is more intermingling with each other, much better opposed to then. And I know that was a new era during my time when I took the transition from Bill Ford to here. But basically, I did enjoy making that transition, and it did benefit me. So I'm proud to be here. I never thought I would walk these halls again, but I did.
Yes, sir. There's a lot of change for you.
Yeah. Now, kind of, even with our society today, do you think it's still so much? Is it much better than it was? Even though our society, with the many of the political aspects that are going on right now, is it still? I guess even better, even though with those things going on.
I would say it's a lot better opposed to the 70s. People began to, came to the realization that nobody's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So we have to learn to live with each other in this society. So therefore, that makes it better. And although we have all of this the uproar here in our society, but we're still the real thing. The bottom line at the end of the day, nobody's going nowhere. So we have to settle in and buckle down and accept each other.
Yes, sir.
Peoples of color, that's one of the things that we have to accept. No one is no better than the other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Back then, where there's how did you guys see it back then? Did you kind of were hoping for a future like this, or how was it?
Well, I knew changes have to come about. Changes have to take places in order to make the world a better place.
Yes, sir.
You cannot, nothing stays the same. So I knew that would eventually happen during my time.
Yes, sir.
In my mind, I was prepared for it, and I think I accepted it very well. Here at this school in particular, I would like to say still today that this might be one of the greatest schools that I ever been inside of. I've lived in various places in my lifetime and been in other schools. This has been one of the most acceptable schools towards I'll say change like that.
Yes, sir. All right. So now we have you're in the military. Robert would like to ask a few questions.
Yeah, I'm really interested. So what branch of the military were you in?
I was drafted right after school here in 1972 into the Army. Basically, during that period of time, there was a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much as soon as you turned 18 or right out of school, you got drafted into the military, especially if you wasn't planning on to attend college.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess military was part of my life. My family has a history of military people. So I knew that I was next in line once I exit here.
Mm-hmm. So you were guessing around the time period it was Vietnam you fought in, or were you stationed in Vietnam?
No, I was drafted for Vietnam, but due to the fact that it appears that at that time this was an era that Vietnam was hot, and they were drafting the whole entire families of people. And I was fortunate enough not to go to Vietnam because I had a brother in Vietnam at the time. So therefore, that led me to end up in Germany, which I did some extensive traveling in Germany on my own during that period of time.
Now, so would you go back to Germany if you could?
I would like to go back to Germany one day. It's a very pretty country. I learned to speak German a little bit. I can still speak some of it. I could go there and get around and be able to do the things that I want to do.
That's absolutely awesome. Of course, I absolutely love learning about different cultures. Are there any other countries where you stay that you were traveled to while you're in the?
Yes, I have been to Ireland. I've been to Budapest, Hungary, Austria. I've been inside of the UK. All of the country of Germany, I've just about covered, and I've been down to Morocco. Just a number of places that I traveled throughout my military career, which I did approximately 19 and a half years in and out, what I refer to. I spent a lot of my time also being an active Army Reserve person. I like the Army. If I had it to do again, I would. We must understand that military is what defend our country and along to help the other allies. So yes, I would do it again if I had to.
That's absolutely awesome. And now we're gonna get into the other questions.
Alright, so Mr. Parks, as me and Robert are members of the football team and going to other like student-led games, stuff like that, we've noticed that you actually take a lot of pictures and do photography at the games. What kind of got you into photography?
Well, actually, when I was doing my military career, I was stationed in a country called Karlsruhe, and I met a photographer there. And I often had this mind wondering, how did you take, then it was film, they call it film, and I was often wondering, how do you take a film and make a picture come out of it? And I was just really curious at that time about that. So he introduced me to photography at that time, which has been 40-some years ago, how it actually worked. Today, photography is quite different. So that brought about that, but it was many years went by before I actually found my way back to it, and now that I'm back into it, I hope to actually do some freelancing photography and shoot for other people.
That's awesome. Well, with photography, and first of all, we'd love to thank you for your service, and
Thank you.
we enjoyed talking with you and learning about your life. One final question before we go: after all of us have listened to, what's the next step? You've been to all these great countries. You have a great hobby. You've been doing it for 40-something years. You've been doing this great hobby. What's next in the life of Mr. John Parks?
I don't know. Maybe once I retire again, I'll probably sell my property. I would like to freelance, probably down in South America or go to Africa.
That's absolutely awesome.
I hope that life will present that to me to go to Africa or to South America to freelance.
It's awesome. Once again, we'd like to thank Mr. John Parks for being here with us, and thank you for listening, and thank you for listening to the story of one amazing man who is one of our greatly appreciated custodians at this school.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me. Mm-hmm.
Good job.